What's good, guys? It's your boy Ivor Mike here, back with the season review. Season 3, League of Europe. I was excited about this one. I really was. Start of the season, I was excited because of two things. One, in Season 2, I managed to clinch third place in the Drivers' Championship, and along with my teammate, QVR Nico, who is now a part of the QVR team, and quite rightfully so. I mean, the improvement from that lad has been absolutely immense. So big up to Nico. But yeah, me and Nico, we just missed out on the constructors. But we're not going to talk about season 2. Let's talk about season 3. Started out in Australia. Now, the season started off the back of some terrible news in my personal life. So, I mean, practice wasn't really a priority for me for like the first opening rounds. So, take the results with a pinch of salt, really. But yeah, the very first race, Australia, wasn't a very good one for me. I mean, I have my qualifying position by here. I believe I qualified P10, which I was incredibly happy with because, for those that don't know, at the start of the season, pre-season and Australia, I wanted to go this entire season with no assists at all. No assists at all, because I had bought myself a wheel, and the last time I was on wheel, as you guys may remember, was at the beginning of F1 2018. So it's been well over a year since I've league raced on a wheel. First thing I done was immediately take off traction control and ABS because I wasn't getting a wheel to keep ABS or traction control on medium. Like, no, that's just not happening. That's not how I work. I'm not getting equipment to take a step back. I want to take a step forward and get better without these assists being turned on. So obviously, I had to relearn how to drive with no TC, relearn how to drive with the wheel, relearn how to drive with ABS being off, and kind of understanding how the gearing and our manual gears, how that affects things when under braking, and obviously with the traction as well, short shifting becoming very, very crucial. But yeah, Australia managed to qualify in 10th place, and it was going to be a completely wet race, which I done absolutely no practice. I've done nothing when it came to wet weather with no TC and that. So, I mean, that with no line as well. None of my braking zones were in the wet. It didn't, it wasn't a very good first showing. So I ended up DNFing in that race. But when I was kind of getting into the groove of things, I was catching the only other guy who went no assists at the start of the season as well. So I was kind of happy with that. And yeah, after Australia, I realized that, with everything that was going on in my personal life, I couldn't put the time in to really practice each track to learn how to drive, where the braking points were, and, get enough practice in to be competitive with the line turned off. So round 2 was Bahrain, and I turned the line back on. Wasn't a good qualifying, P15. It wasn't particularly great. My pace, kind of, yeah, was it was, it was like, it was crap. It was crap at Bahrain, but yeah, there was an incident in the final corner, which at the time, I thought it was hilarious. I made a mistake. I turned in a bit too early in the final corner, hit the curb wrong, and yeah, the back end just went around into the wall. I went, and I kid you not, right? I hit the wall at such a slow mile per hour that I didn't think, I didn't think anything of it. I thought, okay, I'm gonna get orange front wing, but I'm right next to the pits, so it's all good. Red at the push. The wheel fell off. The wheel fell off, and that was I mean, I was laughing in the party, so yeah, that was oh, that was a difficult one. But I mean, you gotta laugh at things like that when it happens. China, also another track that I wasn't confident in my quality pace, but I was confident in my race pace to be able to compete with people. I did a little bit more practice at China than what I did at Bahrain, but not by a huge amount. So I knew China was going to be a difficult one, but I was confident in my race pace. So I qualified 16th, started on the hard tyres, and because it was going to be rain late in the race, I wanted that option. Can I stretch the hard tyres to the rain? If not, that's all good. I can go on the mediums and be quicker than those who are on the hards. So that was my mindset going into it. And I think it was like lap 2 or something. We had to avoid some carnage on lap 1. As it usually is on lap 1. But yeah, avoided the carnage and was running around in 12th place at that point. But as I said, it was just lap 1 carnage. Like able to jump up a couple of positions, and yeah, see where we go from there. I was just trying to get into a rhythm. But yeah, a car ahead tried to make a move down the inside into turn 1. Little bit of contact made, and he spins out. Now he spun out like a good distance around the corner, so he's kind of on your entry into the corner. You're blind to where he is. You're blind. You gotta turn like a good distance around the corner before you actually see where his car is. So my reference was the car ahead of me, MCR, who me and MCR, we had a great battle at China last season in that first stint until I got a 5-second stop go penalty, and yeah, that was a tough one. But yeah, me and MCR, like, we had a good battle last season, so I was happy to be on the same strategy as him and see if I could close up. But he was my reference point for turn 1, and I saw him keep quite tight to the inside. And looking back on the stream, that was perfect because he managed to get through on the inside, but also on the stream, you can see that the car that spun it, Bag of Bones, who, he just rolled onto the racing line, rolled onto the inside and completely cut it off. And because he was completely sideways, he covered off a massive part of the track. And my reactions just weren't quick enough to, get around the outside. Like, I was slowing down, turning left in a right-hander, but wasn't enough. I just tagged his rear tire, and pretty much racing instant. Nothing either one of us could do about that. Just the way it was. Moving on to Spain, qualified P13. Wasn't the best lap. But I was confident I could do something. Lap 29. So just a few laps to go. Lap 29. I'm running in P10, defending from Bree, who was a championship challenger, and behind Bree was Unsafe Release, and behind Unsafe Release was Heated. Now top 12 get points, so there was just one guy in that little group that's not in the points, and we were all catching Bag of Bones, who was in 9th. Coming through the left, right, before you go up the hill to the almost flat out right-hander. I can't remember what turn it is. Count like turn 4, 5, 6. I think 7 and 8. 7 and 8 were the turns, and yeah, he gets a snap and he spears off to the left. Now I'm close enough to him that I can see him spearing off to the left, so I'm going to stick to the right. So I stick to the right, and I don't know whether he tried to immediately try and cover it off straight away, or whether he had another snap that went to the right. But he tagged my rear left tire and dragged me left into the wall, and that was another DNF and another a safety car at the end of the race for everyone else. And yeah, 4 races, first 4 rounds, 4 DNFs. It wasn't a good start. Then we had Monaco. Now I have never finished a race at Monaco. Never. Never have. I didn't think I would this time. I thought it was going to be 5 in a row. But I managed to qualify inside the top 10. P8. I was quite happy. You know, I mean, that was a good showing for me. Managed to get ahead of car. Well, I think it was 2 cars I managed to get ahead of off the start. Because what it was Edak and Tigaby, who had literally, they managed to get such a gap at the start, it was unreal. So fair play to them. But the guy in third, New Zealand Cam, had massive wing damage, but didn't want to pit. He wanted to defend his position. And I can't remember who was in fourth. I think it was Parker. In fourth who got wing damage because of Cam having to brake early so he can get the car turned in, etc. And Cam would have been slow on traction. And then right behind those two, you had me and my teammate, Ton in fifth, me in sixth. Edak made a mistake somewhere because he made a pit stop and came out in the big train that was behind us. So once Cam and Parker, I still think it was Parker, I'm not sure mine, but you guys can always go and have a little look back. Parker and Cam, I'm just going to think it's Parker, so they went into the pits, and because my teammate was in the championship fight, I was trying to be a good number 2. Drive slow enough that he can build a gap, but quick enough that the guys behind can't overtake me. It's Monaco. You can do that pretty easily. And yeah, it was working out great. Tom managed to get a very good gap to the train that we was causing, and well, now I was causing. But I got a bad run out in the welsh chicane. Ben JS, who was on a different strategy on the mediums, got a fantastic run out of there. Down my inside into the back. And, I mean, he was there alongside enough to go for the move. I was still the car ahead, so I can't really back out. I gotta leave him the space on the inside and just hope that we don't make contact in the middle. Unfortunately, because the corner the way it is, Ben kind of understeers into me and that puts me in the wall. Bit of wing damage, but I come into the pits, get repaired, come back out, feeling pretty good about my pace, knowing that I could push a bit better. I came out behind Bag of Bones. Now, for 2 races in a row, Bag of Bones has lost it and is taking me out. So I'm getting Vietnam flashbacks now. So at the hairpin, I'm so focused on Bag of Bones because of every single corner, I'm seeing his back end step out all over the place. And I don't notice on my gearing. So I drop down into neutral, wondering why I'm not turning into the hairpin. Realize I'm in neutral, quickly shifted up into first, but I don't have to turn in a circle to make the corner anymore. So I go into the wall, another bit of wing damage, but just carried on and got to the finish line. A couple of late DNFs got me a few points, and yeah, that was Monaco. Moving on to Canada, qualified P10. There was a train at the start being caused by a lady. I was able to overtake him on the main straight, and he was still on the inside, so I gave him the room on the inside. He missed his braking point, ploughed straight into me, giving me heavy wing damage, punting me off at turn 1. And obviously, like, we were in the train, so when I rejoined on track, I had to do it safely. So I couldn't rejoin on turn 1 itself. I had to rejoin on the exit of turn 2. And I lost like 8 positions just by rejoining on the track after that. So that wasn't fun. And because of the heavy wing damage, I think I lost maybe another 2 places on my way back to the pits. As soon as I pitted, got the front wing repaired, etc. As soon as I came out of the pits, everyone else was in. They were either at the hairpin, like the leaders I think were at the hairpin before the DRS straight. But the pack I was in, I think, was pretty much at the end of sector 2, so that goes to show how much time I lost. So that was China, and I was pretty much, my mind had gone. I was in a world, different world. It is what it is, but moved on. France, a track that I did practice for. My pace was good. I was loving it. And there was a few guys that I felt like, okay, they got similar pace to me, they can be dangerous. But I managed to do well in qualifying. I qualified third, the highest of the medium compound runners. The only people that qualified ahead of me was James and XL Hardy, who back then was known as were cursed, and they were both on soft, so I felt pretty good. Felt pretty good, but at the start I wasn't interested in battling hard with people. I wanted to leave the battling for later on. Let the gaps start to spread out a bit. Keep my front wing, be a bit conservative at the start. So I just kind of let Total P's go. Tiggerby also, he dived it on my inside at turn one. Still side by side coming into turn two, and he cuts me off on the apex of turn two. I did well not to get any damage from it, but I mean, I'd rather drop the position than get wing damage or spin it or some shit like that. So going about the race, it was all going well. I was showing some good pace. I was helping my teammate out, dragging him along, making sure he can keep his ERS and everything, and it was all going good. All going good. I even gave my teammate the undercut. I stayed out for a further 2 laps, and I came out directly behind him. So that goes to show that my pace was pretty decent. So yeah, and he was battling with Tiggerby. Tiggerby done exactly the same in turn one as what he done with me. He did that at the time where he done to me and pretty much cut him off on turn two. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. And they were side by side for the rest of sector one, and Tiggerby completely forces Tan off track to the extent that I'm able to get down his inside. Tan's inside now, not Tiggerby's. Onto the DRS straight, and I've got the overspeed to get past Tiggerby. I do squeeze him out. No way he will even think about trying to dive it back down my inside, because that move is never going to work unless you're just looking to punt someone out the way. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that Tiggerby, isn't smart enough to know that that move's never going to work. Dives it back on my inside, punts me a bit. Safety car comes out, so it's time to back off. Tiggerby doesn't back off. He continues to keep hitting my rear and spin me around, costing me not only the position to him and my teammate, but a further 2 positions, overcooking my tyres. And yeah, into the pits I go, and I come out then pretty much battling with a guy who I know has very good pace at France, and that was Brie. Brie was one of the guys I was worried about because he had very good pace at France. So me and Brie side by side for the flat out right-hander at the start sector 3. And yeah, like the tiniest little bit of contact, and the game contact model decided that it'll just spear me off. It's like, we're doing like near enough 200 miles an hour around this right hand corner. I have no idea that I've got no grip until I can't really turn left. Like, I'm literally going around the corner, right hand corner, bang. Little bit of contact, okay, straighten the straighten the wheel out, but I'm still spearing off to the right. Unbelievable. Into the wall. I did get slowed down a fair bit, but it wasn't enough to save me from DNFing in that race, and that one stung. That one stung big time. Austria qualified P12. I just got the strategy wrong. Austria's on me. I mean, what's called at the start, there was a bit of contact because it was dry tires on a wet track. I just got a little bit eager on the throttle, spun the rears, went off into the wall, came in, front wing damage, chucked on intermediates because it was Indus conditions. The grip was good, lap 2, set fastest lap, lap 3, got to the technically the third corner, and the track had stopped raining and was completely bone dry. So pretty much in the space of me breaking into turn one, because it was still raining at that point, me breaking into turn one, at the end of that DRS straight, the rain had stopped, tyres were overheating. And I came into the pits, opted for a set of mediums, but the game decided I wanted softs. So I was forced into a free stop. I decided to mirror the strategy of the leaders. So they pitted for their mediums at the usual pit window. I pitted the following lap and went to the end. So, everyone else making like a one stop, and then, there were a few people who decided that they wanted to go for a two stop quite late on, which was a bit puzzling for me. But yeah, I made the free stop, and it was what it was. Just a bad race, bad strategy, and yeah, I paid the price for it. Uh, Britain. Britain, I was surprised at. Britain was actually my favourite race of this particular season. So, Britain, I qualified P11. There was an issue at the start with lag between Lacoste, and his lights didn't go off at the same time as everyone else's. So, the guys directly behind him, including my teammate, got caught up in early carnage. I got up into 6th place relatively quickly. Was looking good for me, not so much for my teammate. Safety car comes out, brings teammate back in. I duck into the pits and chuck on a set of mediums to the end. I am loving life because I know I'm in a net. I'm in a net podium because right ahead of me was, well, I say a net podium, maybe net P4, I think. Yeah, probably a net P4 because Wilkhurst was still ahead at that point as well. So, yeah, a net P4. Safety car restart. I have no idea what happened. I completely lost it coming around the final corner. Just about saved it out of the wall. And yeah, just trying to get back into the race after that. Everyone had made their pit stops. There was an issue with Wilkhurst under a safety car. He got disqualified, so I think that's something to do with his lag issues. And yeah, that was a weird one for Wilkhurst. Or I should call him Hardy now. But yeah, it was a weird one for him. But I mean, it was an extra position for me, so I wasn't really too fussed about it. After everyone had made their pit stops, they felt it out. You had Tan and Ben JS, up front and battling for the win. You had Ricky Gardo, in 3rd place, and you had me not too far back. Just it was around 3 seconds, but I started to gain on him. Towards the end, and Parker, who was behind me, that gap was stable. That gap was not closing down. It was It was between 10.5 to 10.8 every single time. He wasn't closing the gap, and I was confident. I was confident because I knew when I went off on the safety car restart, I picked up a 10-second time penalty, which was an unfair penalty. So I knew I was getting that removed. So I was feeling confident of a podium. I was extremely confident of it. So yeah, I was just closing in on Ricky. Safety car comes out towards the end of the race. I box. I speed in the pits because I'm not really focused on the pit limiter. Unfortunately, that's me with a lapse of concentration. Speed in the pits, get a 5-second stop go penalty, which obviously will be added onto my time. And I also picked up a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting or exceeding track limits. There's pretty much the same thing. So that happened, and me, Ricky, and Parker on fresh softs against Tan, who stayed out on his worn mediums. The three of us, we had a pretty decent scrap for the win, but Parker went on to win it on track and win it altogether. Me and Ricky both had a few penalties, so that dropped us down the order. My teammate done well because he was on very worn mediums, so he was able to come through for a podium. And yeah, I mean, Britain was a good race. I just made a couple of mistakes. That's all I'm gonna say. If I didn't have that spin on the safety car restart, or you know lost concentration when coming into the pits on the final SC, it might have been me up there on the podium. In fact, it probably would have. But you live and learn. Things happen. Germany, not a good race for me. Qualified in 19th place. There was a late safety car. I was at the very tail end of the points. I decided to stay out, thinking that the sauce would be relatively dead by the end of the race, so there's no point in pitting for sauce. So I decided to stay the course. And yeah, we're cursed or XL Hardy now. Goes a bit deep at the hairpin on the restart, and he's coming back on track. I'm giving him the room to come back on safely, no issues whatsoever. And Tiggerby tries forcing his way, making it 3 wide into that little right hand kink and that before you get into the stadium section. I know 3 wide's not going to work. I've backed out. Those two go through the corner side by side. They come together, and immediately come back towards me and wing damage. Everyone behind me is on fresh sauce. I've got no chance. It's game over after that. So that was Germany. Hungary was a bit of a quiet one for me. Qualified 5th apparently. Actually surprised at that. But yeah, Hungary wasn't a bad one actually. It was just going about my race, and there was a late safety car. I pitted for sauce, and yeah, it was one of those races. It was not much going on for me anyway. At the end, I saw Parker and DJ Williamson getting a little bit tangled up with each other. Parker looked like he had a bit of a snap, so I was getting past him on the run up to turn 4, but because he was a little bit out of control as I was going past him, I gave him all the room in the world on the left hand side, which is the inside for turn 4. So he was able to sort his car out, no worries. And yeah, I was just focused on that arrow. It was still red, still red, still red, still red. I'm about to turn in for turn 4. It's still red. About to brake, and yeah, it goes white, and I just had my positioning wrong for that corner, thinking that it was going to be too wide, and yeah, back end just stepped out into the wall. So just positioning being a bit wrong there for Hungary. But moving on to Belgium, qualified 14th. Absolutely, I didn't deserve nothing out of Belgium. Didn't deserve nothing at all. My pace on the softs wasn't bad. It was alright. My pace on the mediums and the hards, for some reason, I couldn't get the grips on. I kept wheel spinning and spinning out on them. I didn't deserve anything out of that race, but there was always someone who crashed out or something that brought out a safety car that kept bringing me back. And I ended up jumping up into 5th due to penalties, but I didn't deserve anything out of that. That's the only race I'd say I've actually got lucky at. Monza qualified 11th, and in that race it wasn't anything to do with driving or anyone else. This one was a technical issue. My wheel wasn't even calibrated tidy. I had no weight in my steering whatsoever. The pedals were way too sensitive. The wheel just wasn't calibrated. So, in the wet as well, not what you want, especially around Monza. Yeah, I just DNF just because I know. I'm about to be a lap down. I already know what's going to happen. There's no point in continuing in. So, it is what it is. Singapore bottled my quali run. Absolutely bottled it. And I will actually say I bottled it. I hit the wall at some point in sector 2, got damaged front wing on my medium run, so never got a proper quality time in. And yeah, unfortunately, that meant I qualified P11. But I had free choice of tyre compound, and there was going to be rain at the end, so I could go hard straight to the rain. I was happy with that. I was very happy with that. So yeah, on the hards now, going about the race, and stuck behind James. Then he gets an X above his name, saying he's disconnected. But James's car turned into an AI car that broke a good 50 meters early into a corner, gave me orange front wing damage, and yeah, I passed it into the hairpin. This was going. He gave me the damage going into the Singapore sling. So yeah, at the hairpin under just before the back straight, yeah, I managed to get past him, and then all of a sudden, then his car lags 3 seconds up the road. So his car completely disconnected from me, turned into an AI car, broke my front wing, cost me 3 seconds because I was right on the back of him, and lagged up the road like nothing happened. So that wasn't good for me. I lost my head, and yeah, I was raging after that. Then we come to Russia, another track where I wasn't particularly happy, and I was raging at that as well. But this is what happened at Russia. I set a pretty decent banker, just going out there, set a lap, no worries. And I saw some of the times coming in, and I was like, okay, I have to push a little bit now, just to make sure I'm quite up there. Okay, I pushed a little bit too hard, got onto a curb, spun it, and almost went into the wall. Well, actually, I did go into the wall. I DNF'd. But, that's what happens. And, yeah, I bottled quali. On the rundown, well, I qualified P12. The rundown into turn 2, I get hit up the back and into the cars in front of me, giving me wing damage on both sides. So I have to make a pit stop lap 1. Come out, running around on my own, just to win laps, get myself back into the race slowly. Got myself into P, I can't remember where, but I was just inside the points, and I was defending from Parker, and yeah, for the way Parker would say it sounds like there was a lot of like desync or lag between us. But anyway, this is what happened. Like, I was defending perfectly fine from where I was, and it was all good. Parker did eventually get past me with DRS, and this is where I think a bit of lag and desync came into things, because when he passed me on my POV, he hits me as he's passing, and that unsettled my car into the braking zone, and I was kind of trying to get the car back under control to not completely destroy my own race by trying to get at least pointed in the right direction. Unfortunately, it did mean that I went into the back of Parker, and it punted him off. But this is where I think desync and lag was the issue for it, because on my screen didn't really look like well, I didn't even get wing damage off it. So that's why I think there's a lot of desync and lag between us there. So I mean, that bit of a shitty situation, but both of us ended up losing 2 positions from it. Not great for him or me, to be fair. But yeah, we went on. We were right behind, I think it was James and DJ Williamson. They were side by side in sector 3. They both go a bit deep. I can't remember what turn it is, but it's the off-cambered left-hander in sector 3. You go into the bridge through the right-hander, then you got the left-hander, which you can't spin out at. So they go through there side by side, both go deep. Parker makes it 3 wide. I got Goldie directly in front of me, and Goldie's car was actually, it was a issue because I couldn't see that James had spun it in the right-hander because Goldie's car was covering it up. It wasn't until Goldie kept such a tight line through that right-hander and got out the way that I saw then that James is around, but break-in once again went into James, and wing damage, and so late in the race I had no penalties at that point, none whatsoever. If I had carried on, if I didn't have that incident with James and just went about the race, I was on the jump up to P6 because everyone else ahead had penalties. That's what was going on. But because of that incident, I knew that the only way I'm going to get points if I stay out. I was able to actually get a point only because Parker ended up DNFing, I think 2 laps later after that. So, I mean, it is what it is. But after that, I was absolutely raging. Like, I could not believe the luck that I was having this season. Like, people look at races like China and Spain where someone spun it and there's no way for me to avoid it, or they collect me. Same happened in Germany. It was just so many points that were lost because of someone else's mistake that unfortunately collected me. That was so mentally draining on me. It was unbelievable, and I was getting to the end of my tether, and I do commentary for Division 4, so I was going into Division 4 pissed off most times. But that was the week break. I cooled down, and I just thought, screw it. 4 races left in the season. I'm taking line off again. Let's go. So Japan qualified P15. So first qualifying session, didn't qualify last. Great stuff. And it was heavy rain again, just like in Australia, but at least this time I could actually make it around the track without spinning off it all the time. I did make a few mistakes. I did get lapped by everyone apart from one person, but I didn't want him to feel left out, so I let him lap me at the end. So yeah, I finished the race, and I was last on track, a lap down, so it is what it is. But yeah, that was Japan. Mexico, I managed to qualify P8, so I was on for a decent result there. I did make one mistake in the traction where I wheel spinned up and went off into the wall, and did I get much wing damage? I can't remember, but I wheel spun and went off, so that wasn't nice, and I managed to come back and get a couple of points, so it was all good. USA, in my mind, it was the only race of the season where I was absolutely off the pace. Horrendously off the pace, and regardless of what people might think, that is the only race where I actually qualified last. So, that just goes to show just how bad that race was. That track for me, no line, just could not hook it up. Not in any sense of the word. But I kept my nose clean, kept everything clean, and managed to gain a couple of points. It was all good. Brazil. Those that actually set a time, I was last, but there were a couple of DNF'd on their quality runs, so I was able to not start last day. But yeah, no practice at Brazil. I wasn't really bothered, so I just DNF'd. It is what it is. But yeah, that was season 3 in LOE. 10 DNFs to my name. It's not good. Not good at all, and a lot of points definitely lost due to just stupid incidents. like, you know, really stupid incidents that sometimes, like, you know, tracks like Hungary and, you know, Britain, Austria. Trying to think of another one, like, tracks like Hungary, Austria, Britain. I can take them ones on the chin because they were more my mistakes that cost me points. Tracks like, you know, China, Spain, Germany, Singapore, Russia. Those ones sting a lot more because they had nothing to do with my driving whatsoever. There was all mistakes that were going on around me that just caught me out. So it was a very poor season for me, just getting caught up in everyone else's incidents. So that's pretty much what season 3 was like for me. I am looking forward to season 4, just because I hope to be a lot better now with no line on, and a lot more competitive next season with the new F1 2020 game coming out. So, and Jesus Christ, I've been rambling on for 40 minutes. Jesus Christ, that's a long race review. But, you know, I felt like I had to go through it race by race. Let you know what was cracking. But yeah, that was my Liga Europe Season 3, Division 3 season review. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen in Season 4. Liga Europe is still a great community. And, nothing but love and everything for everyone that's involved in Liga Europe. And yeah, this one bad season it might go down as the worst season I've ever had. Just down on luck. You know, the worst luck I've ever had in a season. I've had seasons where I think have been worse due to my mistakes. AOR F7 being a main example. But yeah, this one I think was it just wasn't my season. Just an unlucky one for me. So we'll see what happens next season. But until then, guys, I've been Ivor Mike, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.